So in this video we are going to add this add item controller. So first we have to add the schema. So let's import the mongoose. Since we have the mongoose, let's create the schema of the item. So I'll give the name of the schema is item schema schema. So this class we have to use, and as a constructor parameter will be passing one object. Inside the object we have to define what are the properties we want to add. So I'll be using this item name, and the type of this property value would be string. So let's create the model of this item. So in order to create the model we'll be using mongoose, and mongoose has this model method. It takes two parameters. First is the name of the model, as a string we have to pass, so item, and the second is the name of the schema. So in our case it's a item schema. So let's store the model somewhere in the console. Item. So our schema and the model is ready. So let's export. So now the model is ready. So let's add the controller for adding item in the database. So first so if something is wrong in the API, so we need to send something to the user, right? So some 500 status code will be sending, and with some error message. So if something is wrong with the server side, so let's handle this part first. So in the controller function we'll be passing two parameters. One is request and the second was response. So here first we have added one controller function, right? So the same controller function, instead of defining here, we have created separate files. So in that files, if you're adding, then it would be very helpful in future. If you are going to maintain this, it will be easy to maintain and clean code. So if something is wrong, so we'll be sending status would be 500, and let's send one object error, and the value would be error.message. Okay, so now we have the model. So let's create a new item. And we'll pass this request body. So we have this new item, so let's save it. So if you're using mongoose, so mongoose provides some yeah, methods which will help you to store the data. So in our case it's a save. So if you save, and for this we have to use await because this save method returns promise. So let's store items saved. So this method, okay, first it will save the data and it will return the newly saved this item. So we'll check if you have this newly saved data, then we'll return we'll send a response with the code 200 and result. This is nothing but this new item. And if something is wrong or something like bad request, or we are not passing any name and simply we are trying to store that item, so in that case, okay, so what exactly we'll do, status would be 400. That means it's a bad request. So let's send it. Bad request. so our add item controller is ready. So let's export this and we'll import it in this router, the JS file. Add item. So this function now we have to define as a second parameter because it has this request and response, everything. So it will handle, this function will handle everything. So let's test this one whether it's working fine or not. So for testing this post API, so we'll be using Postman. So let's change it. Our server is running 2000. Add item, then send the JSON. So in the JSON you have to item. So this is the property. Let's item 1. So now let's try. So here you can see we got the result, the item is successfully saved, and this is the ID. Okay, so we have done with creating the first API. So in the next video we are going to add this get all items.